66 million years ago, the world stood on the edge of an unfathomable transition. Earth was lush, vibrant, and teeming with a staggering diversity of life. Tropical forests blanketed the continents, even reaching into the polar regions where, believe it or not, pine and fern forests endured months of frigid polar night. Towering reptiles, the dinosaurs, roamed plains and forests. They were joined by pterosaurs, their leathery wings casting fleeting shadows across the land, and by monstrous marine lizards gliding through ancient seas. It was the twilight of the Cretaceous period, an age when nature seemed limitless and invincible. But in the blink of a geological eye, everything changed. The legacy of the dinosaurs, who had dominated the planet for more than 150 million years, was shattered. The question that has haunted scientists and storytellers alike ever since is, what happened? Was it the Titanic asteroid, the classic cause taught in classrooms? An Everest-sized rock slamming into Earth at unimaginable speed, vaporizing everything in its path? The evidence for this cosmic assassin is compelling. A global layer of iridium, a massive crater in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, shocked minerals and microtektites scattered across the globe. Yet, as with any great mystery, the case might not be so straightforward. Recent discoveries have breathed new life into an ancient suspect, one hiding below the ground, quietly biding its time. The Deccan Traps, a monster not from the skies, but from the churning, molten heart of the Earth itself. Unlike the asteroid, the traps were a slow, relentless murderer, their weapon not a sudden blow, but a poisonous, smothering, merciless deluge. To understand the magnitude of the disaster, we must first picture the world as it was. The subcontinent of India drifted alone, cloaked in rainforests and home to an ecosystem as rich as anywhere on Earth. Yet beneath its surface, the Earth groaned and fumed. For hundreds of thousands of years before any asteroid strike, the Deccan Traps began their slow assault. At first, quietly releasing millions of tons of volcanic gases, carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. On the scale of Earth's atmosphere, it was like a drop in the ocean, barely noticeable, until the drops began to add up. Over 100,000 years, these emissions built up, cloaking the planet in a thin, suffocating veil. Then came the real horror, a series of eruptions so colossal, so persistent, they transformed a paradise into a living hell. Picture lines of volcanoes stretched unbroken across the horizon, belching rivers of thick, blistering lava and billowing clouds of ash. Entire landscapes choked with prehistoric life succumbed to waves of toxic gas and scorching magma. India, cradle of this devastation, was just the first to fall. Still, it could have ended there, as catastrophic as it was. Earth has seen many calamities, but the Deccan Traps weren't finished. Their relentless activity soon tipped the balance of the entire world. At first, the greenhouse gases unleashed from their bowels warmed the climate, raising ocean temperatures by at least 2 degrees Celsius in just 100,000 years. The change was quick, but just slow enough for ecosystems to teeter, adapt, and hang on. But volcanic gases are tricky. As the sulfur dioxide spread around the globe, it combined with water vapor to rain back down as sulfuric acid, corroding plants and soils, and turning the planet's lifeblood, the oceans, into acidic stews. Oceanic plankton, the microscopic organisms underpinning every marine food web, began to die. As the base of the food chain collapsed, so too did the colossal marine reptiles, the fish, and the creatures that feasted on them. Death spread outward in invisible rings. A cruel sequence unfolded. After the initial warming, as sunlight was blocked by ash, the planet plunged into cooling. Ecosystems that had barely survived the heat now faced a sudden chill. Plants withered, animals grew desperate. As habitats vanished and food ran out, even the mighty dinosaurs found themselves in peril. Then about 50,000 years before the asteroid, the Deccan Traps entered their most furious phase. A period so violent it seems almost mythic. Imagine thousands upon thousands of years when gigantic eruptions never ceased. The heat unleashed by these eruptions drove wildfires of a scale hard to imagine. Earthquakes shook the land, and tsunamis flooded coastal plains. Megastorms, hypercanes with winds reaching up to 1,000 kilometers per hour, arose, tearing enormous holes in the protective ozone layer. As if the heat and storms were not fatal enough, venomous clouds of mercury and hydrochloric acid suffocated what little life remained. Every breath, every drop of rain became a pathway for poison. The land became a graveyard, the oceans a toxic soup. The dinosaurs, once kings of their world, met a pitiful end. Many suffocating, choking, even possibly vomiting foamy toxins as acid rain scorched their skin and lungs. And then, when the world was already devastated beyond recognition, the asteroid descended like the punchline to a cosmic joke. Hurtling from the sky, it struck the other side of the planet with an explosive force billions of times greater than a modern nuclear weapon. The impact ignited forests on the far side of the planet, unleashed tsunamis hundreds of meters tall, and blasted so much dust and debris into the atmosphere that the sun itself was blotted out for years. In a world already crippled, it was too much. Species that had hung on through centuries of volcanic torment were swept away in days or months, unable to survive the cataclysmic final blow. When the dust finally settled, around 75% of all life on Earth had vanished, most legendarily the dinosaurs, except for the small feathered lineage that would eventually become birds. So who killed the dinosaurs? Was it the slow, relentless rampage of the Deccan traps? The sudden violence of the asteroid? Or did these two killers, by tragic chance, join forces to ensure an extinction greater than either could have wrought alone? The truth, as so often in science, remains elusive. New evidence, debated fiercely by experts, continues to shift the story. But there is one thread that chills the blood. 4 of the 5 biggest mass extinctions in Earth's history are now linked to enormous volcanic episodes known as flood basalts. The Deccan traps, the Siberian traps, the Central Atlantic magmatic province, a series of slow, monstrous eruptions that transformed lush worlds into wastelands. Time and again, the monster below our feet has awoken, unleashed its fury, and rewritten the story of life. Today, there is little reason to fear. These monsters move on timescales of millions of years. Should they ever stir again, our descendants would have ample warning. But as we puzzle over the mysteries of deep time, one thing remains clear. The tale of the dinosaurs' demise is not just a story of a single cosmic blow, but of a world beset by monsters both from the heavens above and from the restless fires slumbering deep inside the earth. Did you find our videos helpful? Please like and subscribe to our channel so we can be motivated to answer the questions that people are still wondering about.